Electricity Company of Ghana is justifying the disconnection of power supply to the Yilo and Krobo municipalities. The area has been without lights for the past weeks, leaving residents distressed. Health facilities have equally been forced to find money to rely on power plants to continue providing services. Here's what my colleague Manuel Kranting found out days ago when he visited the community.
Pitch black darkness rules over the entire Krobo land. The sound of generators revs from a distance, distorting the night chirps by crickets. It's been 5 days since a military-backed task force of the ECG disconnected the entire Sumanya township from the national grid over a pushback against the installation of prepaid electricity meters. The impact, wide and crippling to everything that keeps the town alive.
We hardly iron our dresses. You go to where they have generators, sometimes you pay something little before you can iron. Some of the things you even eat, our fridges are off. The foodstuffs we have in the fridges are all rotten.
If you see the number of students who have to trek from the school, go out, even the security, their safety, it's serious. What we are going through is not a child's play. Whoever is in charge must make sure that power is restored to the good people of this place.
It's a school night, but outside many houses, school-going children sit idle. Some of them even with exams at stake.
SHS3.
SHS3. You're supposed to be writing WASI.
Yeah, we started with our practicals today, so yeah, we are on it.
So you're writing WASI as you're sitting here?
Yes,
and without lights?
Yeah, we are coping. There's nothing we can do, so because there are no lights, we can't study hard as we are supposed to.
Home is very well. Without lights, there's nothing we are doing. We are just roaming in the night and then things. So if there were to be light by this time, we'll be learning.
They say they are forced to fall on lamps and other light sources for their personal studies.
But the light of, I used to read my book, and I go to school to learn.
We sometimes use torchlight, and sometimes when our phones are on, we use our phones.
But the situation means different things for different people. While many of the residents here are cursing their stars for being in the area at this material time, Innocent and his friends have seen a great business opportunity.
We're just taking advantage of the light out over here. That is not the business we do, but because the light is out over here, the only way they can also charge their phone is to use the generator, which we have the access to generator, so we're using it. And then we are taking 5 cedis for 100 phone, 3 cedis for yam. Because we have to buy fuel and then to generate the generator. That is the reason why we're doing that. We started this yesterday, and let me say, right now if I should calculate the number of phones that we charge, it's going to reach, let me say, 100.
Innocent and his friends are, however, quick to note this business is not sustainable.
That I have the other business that I do with light, and this cannot help me. Of course, I have to buy fuel for everything that I do, which is going to cost me a lot. So the light is much advantageous than using the generator.
So like every other person in the town, he too wants the power restored. Manuel Kranting, JoyNews, Somanya.
Well, there's more on this. ECG boss Samuel Mahama speaking in a yet-to-be-aired interview with Nana Akosua Konadu on the hard truth says power will only be restored if the community agrees on the settlement plan.
Now, why didn't you even go for the police?
I decided to.
Why soldiers?
The army officers you saw are from the engineers regiment. They are all electrical engineers. My staff needed to be safe. We had a conversation.
But they are soldiers.
Yes.
Yes. So, why did you use
for the protection of my
protection
staff.
Police are there, law enforcers. Why the police? Why the soldiers?
I didn't have the requisite numbers to do the installation in record time.
Did you talk to the IGP without giving you numbers? I mean,
no,
what are you talking about?
You are talking about protection only. My exercise wasn't about protection only. With the pictures you see the army officers installing meters. They are not just, they are on ladders, they are installing.
Again, why the soldiers? Why not the police?
Okay, as I said,
yes,
I needed the soldiers because I needed their electrical engineers. The army has an engineer regiment that has electrical engineers. I needed those guys. I picked them up. I took them to my training school. We stayed there for about 2 weeks with the blessing of the national security, and then we deployed out there to do the exercise. This exercise was going very, very well.
So the police don't have engineers? I don't know.
I can't speak to that, and I'll choose not to speak to that because I know what I decided to implement. But you know,
yes.
But
so,
you know,
so are you saying that the soldiers are the only engineers in town?
If you want the
because I have a problem. Yes, I have a problem. I'm listening.
We have not had the best of relationships in Yilo Krobo or Yilo Krobo.
So
in executing our business.
So
my staff needed the support they could get.
From who?
From the national security. Because we are running a business where, as you spoke about, they are independent power producers that we owe money
Mr. Dubik Muhammad, did you talk to the police about, protecting you?
The police at a certain point,
place?
The police were part of this program. I think when the police were involved, I was on the board.
Right.
That I do remember.
And they didn't help?
The lights went, they did help. I wouldn't say they did not help.
So
they did help.
Right. What were you expecting them to do that they didn't do?
The police did very well.
Okay.
This issue or this decision had nothing to do with the inability of the Ghana police. Not at all.
Okay. So why didn't you go for them?
It had everything to do with me concerning my request for numbers for the job. I had to redeploy people from across the country.
It's not sitting well with me. I'm sure it's not sitting with many Ghanaians. What numbers being now? What numbers are you talking about?
Exercise.
Right.
Installation exercise.
Okay.
You need people who are well versed in electricals to be able to do the exercise. What's the quickest way for me to add to my number of 100? I have about 100 technicians out there that I've pulled from around the world. Don't forget, I'm short-staffed. I have over 2.something million postpaid meters. My meter readers are just 800. I'm short-staffed. So if there's a place where I can redirect to put the requisite numbers and start raking in revenue, of course I will do it.
So the soldiers were the right option for you at the time?
They were the right option for me at that point in time. Because I needed to finish the exercise in record time. But look, now brings us to where we are today, that they are off. They go there, they are doing this stuff. This is how bad it is.
But I think you could have also asked the IG, do you have engineers that can help me? Because this is something.
I don't want us to go into the intricacies of governance.
Why not?
I am a utility company.
Yes.
I requested for a service. Wait.
And you have customers, and you need a relationship with your customers. So if I see a soldier coming at me to do what? To instill fear in me?
The soldier is not there to instill any fear in you. The soldier is there for my protection.
And the police can't protect you?
I started by saying we have not had the best of friendships in that area.
The full interview airs on later on the JoyNews channel, but it's beginning to raise a number of concerns. As we speak, the community is still without lights. There are concerns about security. Joining me now, Adib Sani, security expert via Zoom, and also Richard Komado on the phone lines. Thank you both for your time. Adib Sani, here we are, so many days without electricity. The Regional Security Council chief, the regional minister himself, has given assurances that at least light would have been restored by now. Going by his timeline, it appears nothing is happening.
Well, it's an unfortunate incident. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
I did my service with NETCO, that is the ECG version for the North. And I can tell you boldly that a lot of the complaints about illegal connection, as a matter of fact, we were able to tell which households had illegally connected with information from the general population. So if you work within a community and the relationship between you and the community is not cordial enough, then I think you have to get introspective. They made a mistake from day one going with the military, which I completely kicked against because it was so unwarranted.
He says it's about safety.
why the military and not the police? Okay, so in the first place, I think ECG fired the first shot, and that is what has culminated into this tensions. And today we're talking about a community of thousands of people without power. And according to the ECG, it's as a result of what they described as an interference in the network. So we need to know for a fact whether indeed it is due to circumstances beyond their control or it is deliberate, because under certain international conventions, it is a right to power. For example, there's an international convention called the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Okay, so we need to know if it is deliberate. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that it is illegal and it amounts to group punishment. So in the end, you might create more problems in an attempt to solve a problem because you create unnecessary belligerence against the power company. So I feel that what is happening is unfortunate because it's having serious impact on livelihoods, human security. For example, there are some hospitals that are even not able to operate to full capacity because of the lack of power. There are a lot of businesses in that area who rely solely on power to be able to operate. Okay, so you push more and more people into uncertainty. Some people have nothing to do with what is going on. They are innocent. So for us to deny them, that is, if it turns out to be deliberate, power as a result of the actions of some few, like it happened in Tamale not too long ago, I think that would be unfortunate.
Let me bring in Richard at this point. You've been at an engagement where issues of national security is being considered as we speak. Has this issue, for instance, come up? If it has not, your own take on what's happening and the justification we're getting from the ECG?
I listened to your lady with an interview with a consultant, and I think I agree largely with her concern. We are talking about two things here. We are talking about provision of power, and we are talking about safety. The man said he has a backlog, and he said he needed people to. So I was thinking the military he sent there were 48 engineers who have the capacity to help him install the meters.
Right.
But if it turns out the military are just there to provide him security, and he has still not be able to install the meters, then I think they will need to look at the operational capacity again as a company. There has not been any proof to say that he took the military there, which he himself has asserted to the fact that the military, the police did a good job. So at what point did he switch to the military? I think that is what is not sitting well with the people, considering the fact that he has a customer relationship agreement he needs to buy with. Having said all that, what is it the issue there that they are not be able to resolve? It's a leadership issue. It's a communication issue, it's a traditional issue, and it's a national security issue. They would need to put their heads together to get it done so that businesses can take off there.
For security in the community. And of course, we understand that this has been a major concern, which came up even at regional security engagements. It appears there's still a deadlock. So what's going to be the complications now?
I think they have the power to address whichever issue comes to their table, that is at the national security level. I think this particular one, the wrangling has been too trivial. The engagement has been poorly done. The accusations has been too many, and people are feeling reluctant to do it. And I heard my brother Adib talking about international conventions, and when it is deliberate that people have been denied electricity, they can take a legal action. I think for the sake of hospitals and for the sake of the essential services being provided there, they will need light. And whatever it is the issue, we are talking about the state. The state has the power to do so many things about triviality. I think this particular case, the state itself has been implicated and indicted, and the state will need to rise above pertinence and, triviality to get in there and face the issues, and let's see what happens. Are we saying that if the people around where some of the key state actors live are having these challenges, they will say they wouldn't face the electricity for them and give them the basic necessity? I think we are losing it again as a people, and this particular one is showing how ineffective we are to resolve issues that confront us in our face as leaders.
Adib, is this the time to consider the intervention from the National Security Council?
Absolutely. This is a national security crisis because it has the potential of pushing individuals in the area into uncertainty. Like I indicated earlier, a lot of livelihoods are being affected. So this is a human security challenge. Also, some health facilities have also been affected. On the other hand, it is also likely to get some to use means to pay back, sort of, even if it means attacking ECG officials. It is very likely, and we need to take this seriously. I would have thought by now that national security would have intervened. I don't know if they have or to what extent, but surely this is a national security issue that has to be dealt with. But I can confidently also say, without mincing words, that if what the people in the area are saying, the chiefs are saying, is anything to go by, this would amount to group punishment, which is illegal under the laws of Ghana and even international law. So it is important that they look into this issue as soon as possible so it doesn't degenerate into a more serious case of belligerence against ECG officials in the area.
What are your fears?
My fear is people getting out of work, people not having anything to do, and perhaps would resort to criminal means or the criminal enterprise as a means to survive. Also, my fear is ECG officers might be attacked. Worst case scenario, ECG officials might get hurt as a result, because what is happening is creating serious animosity towards ECG in the area. I spoke with someone there who said they don't even want to hear the name ECG because it creates a lot of anger, you know, in the hearts of the people. So we need to be very careful about how we handle this. The unfortunate thing is, I feel it has taken too long to be addressed. By now, we should have done that, but I'm hoping that there's still a window of opportunity that we can hang to and perhaps find a lasting solution to what is happening.
I'm grateful, Adib. Richard, your final expectations?
No, I think leadership is needed here. I think they will need to resolve this particular conflict, get to the bottom of it, and ensure that whatever they needed to do to restore electricity back to the place is done immediately. Other than that, the more it drags, the more the contestations become more, and the more the agitations come up, then it derives them of their effortlessness. I think we will need to do much far better than we have done now.
Okay, then, let's see what happens in the coming days. But for now,
thank you.
There's that assurance coming through from the Regional Security Council. We'll see what then happens in the coming days.